El Paso goes by many names. Sun City, 915. We are known for history, culture, food, and art. In the early 1900s, development and commerce in El Paso revolved around mining and trade. The nationally recognized mission trails are just one example of the many historic sites that portray our region's rich indigenous and colonial history. Since then, El Paso has evolved, and so has its people. We take great pride in nourishing a skilled and capable workforce, with 72% of our population being bilingual. We stay competitive among other large U.S. cities. The region's border location boasts a major trade port. It allows competitive local manufacturers to produce at maximum capacity. Fleet systems are capable of worldwide distribution of parts and products. Our state-of-the-art higher education systems are nationally recognized. The Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center El Paso, the nation's first comprehensive health sciences institution on the U.S.-Mexico border, provides students the opportunities to become doctors, nurses, and researchers. The University of Texas at El Paso offers 74 bachelor's, 74 master's, and 22 doctoral programs. Local government agencies and other economic development organizations help industries become established and expand in our community. The County of El Paso is great for business, but we also keep true to our southern hospitality with plenty of outdoor recreation options. It's easy to keep active in El Paso. We are constantly looking for new industries interested in expansion. We want to offer our help and support in the process. No matter the name, El Paso is proud, strong, progressive. We are El Paso. Come see what we can do together.
You are watching the broadcast of the El Paso County Commissioners Court meetings. Commissioners Court meetings are held every Monday at 9:30 a.m. on the third floor of the El Paso County Courthouse, located at 500 East San Antonio in downtown El Paso. These meetings are open to the public. The meeting will start momentarily.
All county offices will be closed on Monday, May 27th in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. All county offices will reopen on Tuesday, May 28th, 2019.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canutillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canutillo Avenue in Canutillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938. Don't wait in line, pay online.
Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the Purchasing Department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346th District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barril started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for this specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
You are watching the broadcast of the El Paso County Commissioners Court meetings. Commissioners Court meetings are held every Monday at 9:30 a.m. on the third floor of the El Paso County Courthouse, located at 500 East San Antonio in downtown El Paso. These meetings are open to the public. The meeting will start momentarily.
We are ready to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, May 6, 2019. Commissioners Court is meeting in regular open session. Would you please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation. Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Buenos dias, my fellow El Pasoans. We are family. Close or distant mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles and cousins, children of the cosmos, the sun and Mother Earth. The star stuff that achieve wondrous self-consciousness, and with that, the awareness of our mortality, prompting us to ask the fundamental questions that only humans ask and seek to answer. Is there life after death? What is our purpose in life? What makes life meaningful? What is just and wrong? How did this all come to be? Nature, the animals, the plants, the planet, the sun, the stars, the cosmos, and the planet's premier creature and predator, people. Somos familia. We are the children of ancient ancestors who emerged from Africa to populate most of our planet, traveling through space and time on the voyage of life. Struggling, some fighting, discovering, innovating, and building along the way. Dreaming, hoping, loving, laughing, crying, and dying on the journey of life. We are family, most of us believing what we do because of when and where and to whom we are born. Some believing in a divine creator or creators of the cosmos, others not, others unsure or skeptical about divine intervention. Somos familia. We're the distant progeny of ancient ancestors, of mothers and fathers in search for a better tomorrow, traversing the world until they found a place to call home. And along the eons-long voyage, meeting and mixing with each other, creating the diversity called the human family. Most of us and our ancestors being good people, but there are others who were bad people, some committing history's atrocities in the name of their theology, ideology, for power and or money. Still, we're all connected, interdependent, most of us seeking and enjoying each other's company because we are family. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of Commissioners Court and myself, we welcome you to Commissioners Court here, and the Commissioners, I apologize. Thank you for being here. It's always great to have people, especially when we do the resolutions and we get people to be here to recognize some of the amazing things that happen in our community. So I thank you. Hope there's not a lot of after effects of Cinco de Mayo going forward. So I welcome you and thank you for being here. Cesar?
Thank you, sir. Item number 4 is the consent agenda composed of items 4A through 4O. Are there any items that members of the Court of the Public would like to pull for individual discussion?
Cesar, I'd like to pull O, but to be postponed for next time for an actual presentation from the Juvenile Probation Department.
You'd like to postpone for 1 week then, sir?
For 1 week,
Okay. Any other items from the Court of the Public?
Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve the rest.
Second?
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson. Aye. Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to item number 5. We're going to take one item out of order. We're going to go to item 5E. In the resolutions, to approve and adopt a resolution declaring the week of May 5th through the 11th, 2019, as National Travel and Tourism Week in El Paso County, Texas.
Good morning.
Morning.
Commissioners, I'm Brian Crow, General Manager for Destination El Paso. I'm pleased to be with you this morning, along with key members of my staff. Brooke Underwood, Veronica Castro, Megan Ruby, Ernie Hernandez, and Kathy Stevens are also here with us as well. We're excited to be with you this morning to celebrate National Travel and Tourism Week and talk about why travel matters. Just want to share a few facts with you guys this morning. Here in the United States, $2.5 trillion is how much travel represents in the United States economy. Right here in El Paso, that's worth $1.6 billion to our community. It's really important we want to highlight all the things that travel means to us here in our community and all the people that help make hospitality and travel happen right here in our city and in our county. We employ over 13,300 people throughout the hospitality industry here in our community, and we're very pleased to be able to receive this recognition on their behalf for all the efforts that they do each and every day to welcome visitors to our community and to be able to share all that's great about our community in El Paso. We have a host of events that are taking place throughout the week. Yesterday, we were at the El Paso Chihuahuas game. This morning, we're here with you. Tomorrow, we're focusing on Education Day. We'll be present at UTEP and at the El Paso Community College, talking with students about the importance of travel and tourism and opportunities that they can have and careers related to hospitality in our community. On May 8th, we're hosting 35 local media influencers. And we'll be giving them highlights from around El Paso, including a tour of the Hotel Paso del Norte and some of the new room inventory that they're showcasing there. Great opportunity to utilize local El Pasoans and their social media and other media platform outreach to be able to talk about all the great things that are taking place here in our community. And then on Thursday, and hopefully you're able to join us for the National Travel and Tourism Luncheon, where we'll be honoring Dr. Diana Natalicio for her contributions to the El Paso community as our Spirit of Amigo recipient for 2019. And we'll also be talking about the impacts of travel and tourism on our community, and we'll be also recognizing a few members of the local hospitality community for their efforts each throughout the year to be able to welcome visitors. And then finally, or almost finally, Friday, we have Al Fresco Fridays. We kicked off Al Fresco Friday last Friday into the weekend of Cinco de Mayo. We're going to have a local travel fair. It's a free event. We encourage El Pasoans to come down, of course, enjoy the music of Al Fresco Friday, but also learn about all the things that are going on in their own community. Oftentimes, we are the ambassadors for guests and visitors that come to see us in our community. We want to make sure you're equipped with all the latest information about what's going on in your hometown so you can make sure visitors have a great experience while they're here. And then finally, May 11th is Visitor Appreciation Day at both our downtown Visitor Information Center and at the airport, where we'll be hosting treats for visitors that are coming into the Visitor Information Center. I know we have some gifts for you guys this morning, some recognition for National Travel and Tourism Week. And then with your permission, Judge, we have the video we'd like to share with you.
Very nice. Don't you guys think? How about an applause here? For those of you that don't know Brian, he goes 100 miles an hour. He actually beat me to reading the resolution and stole the stats away from me. But other than that, Brian, as always, you guys do a tremendous job, and thank you. So before he says anything, I better read it. Let me jump in here real quick. Whereas Destination El Paso celebrates National Travel and Tourism Week with local awareness activities honoring the travel and tourism industry, and whereas 3.4 million domestic travelers visit El Paso and contributed 1.6 billion to the economy in our city, and whereas the hospitality industry employs 13,300 El Pasoans, whereas the Spirit of Amigo Award is presented to individuals whose contributions have impacted the travel and tourism industry and the local economy. This year's recipient is Dr. Diana Natalicio for her devotion and commitment to El Paso. And whereas given this laudable contribution to the economic, social, and cultural well-being of the citizens of El Paso, it is fitting that we recognize the importance of travel and tourism and encourage the citizens of El Paso to observe this week by participating with appropriate ceremonies and activities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Courts do hereby declare the week of May 5th through the 11th, 2019 as National Travel and Tourism Week. Second. Okay, now, Brian. We got a second. We got a...
Commissioner Perez. Commissioner Leon. Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for the recognition. I covered the highlights, and I think it's worth covering them twice, as you mentioned. But thank you guys again, and my apologies for getting ahead of you this morning.
It's okay. There's no real order, but, you know, thank you for recognizing Dr. Natalicio. That is our icon of El Paso and will always be. So great 30 years that she had with the university, and tremendous things have happened because of her. So thank you for including her as part of the recognition.
Of course.
And congratulations, and you the best of luck going forward this week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Makeup?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Brian.
Okay, Caesar.
Item number 5A, approve and adopt a resolution designating May 10th, 2019 as Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you, Caesar. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. It gives me a tremendous amount of honor to be able to read this into the record. Oscar, Mr. Barrera is here. Thank you for joining us. Whereas ASSIST International was founded in 1955 and is the largest organization of security professionals with more than 37,000 members internationally. whereas law enforcement officers are the guardians of life and property, have dedicated themselves to this noble profession, and deserve our appreciation for their contributions to both the private security industry and the communities in which we work and live. And whereas we also recognize the members of Assist El Paso chapter and observe this day to pay tribute to them and celebrate their accomplishments and sacrifices they have made and will continue to make. And now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that May 10th, 2019 be known as Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, signed the 6th day of May 2019 by the honorable members of Commissioners Court.
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The floor is yours.
Commissioner Leon, thank you very much. I'd like to introduce to you the current chairman of ASIS International El Paso chapter, Jason Allen.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Just want to take the time to thank you all. ASIS has been dedicated to the security of the city as far as from a joint venture recognizing law enforcement and what they do every day, and us from a security industry. And we are just thankful that you guys took the time to recognize it. And May 10th, we will take the time to recognize all of the officers and law enforcement as far as military for what they do every day. So we just wanted to take the time to thank you guys. And Oscar, do you have anything else?
One of the things our organization does is provide scholarships to those who are attending school at the university level or master's level involved in criminal justice or related fields. And this year we'll be doing the same thing. In addition, we're going to be providing a scholarship to the daughter of our slain deputy, Mr. Herrera. And Natalie will be receiving that scholarship. In line with that, many years ago, certainly Commissioner Leon was chief of police, and I got a phone call from his office one day, and he says, Oscar, we'd like you to be down at the museum. The chief is going to be doing something special. And when we got there, he held a news conference expressing the fact that the city of El Paso was now designated the safest city in the United States. And I shared that. I was at the funeral of the deputy, our deputy, and I turned to his, Carlos Leon was nearby, and I turned to his wife to share that great news with her, that event. And Commissioner Leon turned to us as we were in the church there, and he says, as he pointed to our deputy laying at rest, he says, but that's the price we pay for a safe community. So again, I want to thank you very much for honoring the law enforcement agencies and personnel that makes this community a safe community and a great place to be. Thank you.
Mr. Barrera, I've got to say thank you for joining us, number one. And as you mentioned, I come from law enforcement. And the reason that we are one of the many facets of why El Paso is so safe, I know that we're now rated number 6. And I tell you, somebody doesn't know how to count. We should be in the area of 1 or 2. Yeah. But if you look at Honolulu, if you steal a car there, where are you going to go? Come on. Right. But as I said, the reason we're safe, there's many facets associated with that. And one of those big facets is the private security business. Makes a big difference in El Paso. And we thank you for what you do. Congratulations.
Oscar, Jason, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you. Oscar, Jason. One more.
Item number 5B, approve and adopt a resolution recognizing the week of May 5th through the 11th, 2019 as National Correctional Officers Week in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you, Caesar. Good morning, everybody, again. I know that we have a lot of representatives in this arena, and Commander, thank you for being here. When I see you all, when I look up, I see all of you, I see family. And I'll do a little more talking after we read the resolution into the record. Whereas in 1984, President Ronald Reagan saw the importance to recognize all correctional officers and signed a proclamation designating the week beginning May 3rd, 1984 as National Correctional Officers Week. And whereas correctional officers are committed to ensuring public safety by establishing and maintaining security within the facility and supervising offender conduct and behavior to avoid conflicts and escapes. And whereas correctional officers are crucial to the statewide reentry initiative by helping prepare offenders to assimilate successfully back into the community upon release, thus reducing recidivism. And whereas correctional officers strive to maintain a safe working and living environment in El Paso County's correctional facilities, often in the face of challenges and dangers that threaten their own lives and safety. And whereas it is fitting to recognize and honor El Paso County's correctional officers for the important tasks they perform each day and for the many risks they have taken to provide for our security outside the county's correctional facilities, and for the sacrifice they make to protect the citizens of our community. Now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that May 5th, 2019 through May 11th, 2019 be known as National Correctional Officers Week. Signed the 6th day of May 2019 by the honorable members of Commissioners Court.
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The floor is yours.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Marco Vargas. I'm the Assistant Chief Deputy from the Jail Annex, and actually with me is the Assistant Chief Deputy for the Detention Facility, Kevin Lanahan, and our Association President, Peter Ferroni, and obviously our partners from the downtown facility and Jail Annex. First, I apologize, Sheriff Walls couldn't be here today, but I'm sure he sent his two best chiefs to represent him here this morning. It's an honor and privilege to be here and actually be recognized by Commissioners Court. Quite often, corrections and detention side is an unseen profession. You know, we really don't see a lot of publicity. We really don't see a lot of what happens behind those bars, and our men and women risk their lives on a daily basis to go in there and ensure the safety and security of both detention facilities. And obviously there's a lot of questions with regards to their own personal safety. You know, just in this past month, we've had 5 officers that have been assaulted. And nationwide, you know, we have approximately 470,000 corrections or detention staff in the United States. And sadly, in 2016, 254 of those officers lost their lives in the detentions or jail environment. Here with us, as of 2018, we've seen approximately 16 officers assaulted, over 120 inmate-on-inmate assaults, and just about a little under 160 injuries to our staff when they have to deal with some of these violent inmates. Of course, our profession has evolved, like with anything else. We are now considered not just correction or detention officers. We play the role of social worker. We play the role of mental health expert. And there's a lot of variables that our staff have to deal with on a daily basis, and that's why we're we're appreciative that you're recognizing us this week, and we thank you very much. And I'll turn it over to Peter Ferroni for a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thanks, Chief. Good morning. I'm Pete Ferroni, President of the El Paso County Sheriff's Officers Association.
Morning.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for the opportunity to be here today, especially Commissioner Leon for preparing the resolution and taking the time to honor our detention officers. As a 17-year detention officer, I feel that the best way for me to honor my fellow detention officers would be to tell you some stories. Every detention officer has a story. By that, I mean a silent burden that they will carry with them throughout their life due to things they've experienced while working in the capacity of a detention officer. We have all seen things we try not to take home with us, but we do. We have all seen or dealt with things that we don't want to dream about at night, but we do. I believe these men and women standing behind me are the unseen heroes in law enforcement. As detention officers, we choose to go to jail every day and get locked up with some of the most violent criminals. We keep some people's worst nightmares in cells at night while they sleep in peace at home. We must always be ready for worst case scenario. If we are not prepared for worse, we might not make it home that day. On our best day, we are essentially imprisoned along with the inmates in the same environment. We hear and feel the harsh clanking of metal doors closing behind us in every corridor. I remember a time when I needed to help an inmate who was out of control. It was my job to protect him, even from himself. My partner and I went in to help as he was banging himself against the metal cell door. Due to his crazed actions, he sustained a cut over his eye. He was bleeding and fighting, which caused him to bleed more. By the time we got out of the cell, the white walls, our uniforms, and our bodies were splattered with blood. A few hours later, I had to switch from being a detention officer to being a dad, trying to act normal and eat dinner with my kids. I remember an inmate who was convicted of killing his baby. He had AIDS and would continuously cut himself, knowing that we would have to enter his cell to take him for medical treatment. He would then physically fight with officers as they entered his cell, which often resulted in the special response team having to be called out, and then officers having to go to clinics to be tested. I remember all the shanks we have found on inmates. I remember officers getting poked by homemade tattoo needles while searching cells and inmates. I want you to know that as a detention officer, you see things that you can never unsee. I want you to know that as a detention officer, you smell things that you can never unsmell. I want you to know that as detention officers, you are exposed to violence at very high levels. I want you to know that around the next door, an inmate could be waiting to spit on us, throw feces on us, or attack us. Yet, we are there among them for their safety and the safety of our community. It's a tough job, but we are honored to do it on behalf of the community we call home. According to a New Jersey State Police Task Force study, 33.5% of all assaults in prisons and jails are committed by inmates against staff, and a correctional officer will be seriously assaulted at least twice in a 20-year career. On average, correctional officers will live only 18 months after retirement. The rate of suicide for correctional officers is 2 times that of police. Correctional officers have a 39% higher suicide rate than any other occupation. So, to all of the detention officers, the unsung heroes, the ones choosing to be locked up for 12 hours a day in order to keep the rest of us safe, to them, I say thank you on behalf of the community I am blessed to call my home. Thank you.
Commissioner Leon.
Thank you, Pete, Chief Vargas, Chief Lanahan, Lieutenant. It's just great to see you all here this morning. And Pete, what you said right now is very true. As you know, I come from law enforcement. And I remember booking many subjects into the county jail and thinking, man, I dealt with this person for a couple of hours. Now you all have them for days, weeks, months. And what you said about forgetting something that's in your head, you all know, as I've said before, that I wish we had a delete button that you could just delete it from your memories, but we don't. And over and above those sacrifices you mentioned, the daily sacrifices that you all make insofar as missing Christmases, birthdays, T-ball games, I'm just very, as the rest of the court is, very proud of what you do. And that's another facet of why El Paso is such a good place to live and why we are so safe. So congratulations. Thank you for being here, and you all have made our day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Vargas and Pete Ferroni, and thank you, Mr. Ferroni, for the support that you've given him as a president of the union. And I got to see the loyalty and camaraderie when Officer Herrera passed, but I thank you. I've had the opportunity to be at the annex and here at the jail, and you guys do a tremendous job. I mean, it's just an amazing job that you do with incredible attitude. It's almost like customer service is right in front, and you wouldn't believe that inside that facility you would have the level of respect and customer service that you provide for the inmates, and that's difficult, but you guys somehow figure a way how to do that, and so we thank you from Commissioner's Court for everything that you do. Pete, I didn't know, hadn't thought about the things that you said, and they're very close to our heart, very difficult to understand, but it gives us a higher sense of appreciation for what the correction officers do. So thank you so much for those words, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, and Chief, the talk on the street is that you are the better chiefs in the department. That's what I hear.
That's what we hear.
I'm sorry, Kevin, I didn't see you back there.
just one.
After Commissioner Lowe and after Chief Webb. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you.
Just one final thing, Judge, Commissioners. We are having a family day this upcoming Saturday at the jail annex, and you guys are more than welcome to come down and bring your families. We're going to have a lot of activities and tours of the facility.
What time is that, Chief Vargas?
It runs from 9 to 3.
9 to 3.
I'm sorry, 11 to 4, Judge. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's what you said.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 5C, approve and adopt a resolution declaring Saturday, May 11th, 2019 as Stamp Out Hunger Day in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you. And I have the honor to read the resolution. Whereas the National Association of Letter Carriers, combined with the United States Postal Service, has for the past 27 years used the Saturday before Mother's Day for the largest one-day food drive to eliminate hunger in our community. And whereas the generosity of the community made it possible for the letter carriers to collect over 100,000 pounds of non-perishable food per year while delivering mail, which supplements food to thousands of families in need. And whereas El Pasoans fighting hunger, the AFL-CIO, Teamsters, and United Way of El Paso have joined the National Association of Letter Carriers in this great effort. Now therefore be it resolved that the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court do hereby declare Saturday, May the 11th, 2019 as Stamp Out Hunger Day.
Second?
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your support of this very important day, both on behalf of the community, the National Letter Carriers, and the Food Bank. Because of incredible generosity like this, the Food Bank is able to provide the ingredients for nearly 55,000 meals a day, 365 days a year. This particular day, May 11th, Stamp Out Hunger Day, is one of my favorite days of the year. It's a day when the community comes together and cares about their neighbors in need. And it is also a time that is critical to the food bank because summer is coming and our kids will soon be out of school, and this food is critical to make sure our kids are fed. May 11th is the 27th annual Letter Carriers Food Drive and the nation's largest food drive. This food drive will be happening across the country, and we can be especially proud here in El Paso because this event was founded here in El Paso 27 years ago. So people can expect to receive a plastic bag in their mailboxes, and we're asking that they fill these bags with healthy foods for their neighbors in need. So we're asking for healthy foods like canned vegetables, canned fruits, peanut butter, fruit juices, pasta, tuna, oatmeal, cereals. These are all things that our neighbors need to stay healthy and strong. On May 11th, these items will be collected across the region. They will be brought by the letter carriers and our friends at the Teamsters to the food bank, where over 100 volunteers will converge to sort this food and get it ready for our neighbors. I want to thank all of our partners for making this event possible. I want to thank the letter carriers, the United States Postal Service, the National Rural Carriers Association, UFCW, United Way, AFL-CIO, Valpak, Albertsons, and One Gas. Without all of these organizations coming together and the community coming together, this incredible event that will provide over 100,000 pounds for people in need would not be possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Richard, any comments? You're okay? Oh, okay. Thank you. No, we thank you, and the letter carriers to be able to do that above and beyond everything that you do is quite admirable. So we thank you for that, and we also encourage everyone to participate. I know you had, let's beat by a lot last year's record, and thank you for everything that you do. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Let me, Thank you.
Item number 5D, approve and adopt a resolution recognizing the week of May 6th through the 10th, 2019, as Price's Give 'em 5 El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame Week in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll read the resolution. Whereas the El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame was founded in 1955 to honor those athletes, both men and women, who have in their athletic fields of endeavor brought great credit upon themselves in El Paso County. And whereas the El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame is celebrating its 64th annual induction banquet, which will honor recipients in the following categories. Living athlete category, we honor Jorge Munoz, Holly Cowan Mata, and Jennifer Delgadillo. Coach administrator category, we honor Quincy Dow Farley and Gary Pippin. Media category, we honor Duke Keith. Official and trainer category, we honor Bill Scott. Lastly, in the posthumous category, we honor Eugene Augustus Desbine. And whereas El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame has inducted more than 361 men and women and into its prestigious organization, and whose individual plaques are proudly displayed in the concourse of Don Haskins Center, the campus of the University of Texas at El Paso, and whereas the El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame and Price's Creameries, which has sponsored the event for 20 years, will continue to provide fond memories for decades to come for El Paso, Texas, and the region. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that the week of May 6th, May 10th to May 10th, 2019 be declared as Price's Give 'em 5 El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame Week.
Second.
Signed the 6th day of May 2019.
Second.
Commissioner Perez. Aye. Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We would like to thank County Judge Samaniego, along with the county commissioners, for this great honor this morning in recognizing the 2019 El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame class. My name is Ruben Ramirez. I'm the 2019 El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame president, and I'm joined by 2019 Hall of Fame vice president and incoming president, Ed Stansberry, along with the members of the 2019 class. The Price's Give 'em 5 Hall of Fame banquet, which will be held this Wednesday, May the 8th at 6 p.m. at the El Paso Community College, which is also, just as a matter of fact, is already sold out. So if you all want to join us, you'll have to watch it online. But we're going to induct 8 new members to the Hall of Fame, along with recognizing several local high school athletes for their achievements that they've been able to achieve this school year. You've already read the names of the inductees, so I'm not going to repeat them. But we have Duke Keith, Lou James, Coach Farley, Bill Scott, and Coach Pippin. And that's part of our class. There's 3 members that weren't able to make it this morning, but we'll make sure that they know about the resolution. Thank you again, and thank you for having us here today.
Well, thank you. It's quite an honor for me. My brother Chito, Captain Chito Samaniego, is one of the inductees, and as you said, there's not a game that goes by that we don't go and take the family and enjoy that picture, and it's quite an honor to be there, and it's quite an honor for the kind of athletes that are there are unbelievable. I don't know most of you, but I do remember Lou James, and who would forget? An amazing coach. And thank you very much. So really appreciate this recognition. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Judge.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. I just want to say congratulations to all you guys. Some of you I've known for many, many years. Like Mr. Stansberry, I've known him since he was a baby. His dad and I not officiated, but we coached together. And Wayne Thunder back there in the corner hiding. But some of you I know for over 20 years or more. Some of you, I know you personally, but I want to point out one, and it's not to slight anybody else. Well, no, two guys. Lou James back there, he's been a great guy, but one of the most generous coaches in town. I appreciate basketball for over 20 years. Coach Pippen from Eastwood High School. There's a lot of coaches that I've called games and I've been close to throwing them out of the game, but he had a way to ask a question in a general manner all the time and never raise his voice. And that's one that, and I appreciate that as an official, because I tell you, if any of you know about officiating and you've been on the court, some of them will really, I won't say it, but congratulations to all you guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Robinson. Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Item number 5F, approve and adopt a resolution declaring the week of May 6th through the 10th, 2019 as Economic Development Week in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you. Who's got the honors? Jessica? But no, I'll read the resolution first. Thank you for being here. Whereas economic developers create opportunities and expand investments for individual and commercial development, which drive revenue growth and contribute significantly to the economy and the quality of life. And whereas economic developers work toward competitive wages for new and existing business through a toolbox of services that attract and retain the workforce for economic stability. Whereas economic developers engage different opportunities, including both rural and urban, within the local, state, and federal levels to participate in economically beneficial programs and incentives. Whereas economic developers stimulate business growth by supporting a sound business environment through harmonious local partnerships. And whereas economic developers preserve our culturally rich historical sites as enduring symbols to showcase our unique heritage and ensure a greater rooted community. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court do hereby declare the week of May 6th through the 10th, 2019 as Economic Development Week. This community celebration supports the expansion of economic opportunities and encourages businesses and enterprise to utilize all available resources and incentives. Signed the 6th day of May, 2019. Thank you.
Second.
Commissioner Bettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Judge, thank you so much. Commissioners, on behalf of our partner organizations located across the region, we're very excited to kick off this week to really celebrate economic development. We're one of 15,000 economic development organizations across the world that are celebrating economic development this week, along with our counterparts in travel and tourism. And also, if you didn't know, it's also Small Business Development Week, so it's quite a busy week this whole week. We're kicking it off here today at the county, and we will have a series of events that we hope you all could join us to also include a ball game on Wednesday night. We'll all be there at baseball, but we really also like to recognize our Hispanic Chamber for joining us here today, along with the rest of the City of El Paso's economic development team. And we thank you for your commitment and your support and your continued investment in our region. We look forward to a lot more in this next coming year and the years ahead, but very excited about everything that is happening across this region. And you're right, this is an effort that we need to recognize both the urban areas and the rural areas of the region. But thank you again.
Jessica, thank you. You know what also is important is the solidarity that we have here in front of us. We've got the Hispanic Chamber, which, you know, they do tremendous things for small businesses, and they promote, you know, all types of businesses and encourage and train them. And then we've got the city and we've got the county all in the same place. And so that really shows the importance. Economic development, obviously, is going to be a huge driver for us, you know, coming up. We hear about all the caps and all these things that could keep us from going forward, but as long as economic development continues, then we can survive and go beyond here in El Paso. So I thank you as you see all the things that are happening downtown and through rural areas and, you know, urban and rural, as we said. It shows the kind of impact that you have. And so thank you for all your work. Thank you for the collaboration that you show amongst the different economic development groups here in El Paso. Thank you very much.
Item number 6 is public comment. And at this time, Judge, we don't have anybody signed up for public comment.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take no action on item number 6. Brings us to item number 7, County Administration. Discuss and take appropriate action regarding the 86th legislative session to include presenting information for the court's consideration, removing or including bills on the county's state legislative agenda, and supporting or opposing filed legislation, and take any action necessary on aforementioned items.
Judge, good morning, Commissioners. Ana Podaca, Governmental Affairs. Come to you today with a very brief update with regards to legislative session. This week, our Senate Bill 1402, which is our county bill regarding undeveloped lots of 25 years or more, will be having a hearing on the 9th, and staff are prepared and ready to attend and provide testimony. Another bill that we opposed earlier this year was Senate Bill 702, which is the bill that prevents counties and local governments from being able to lobby or join any lobbyist groups, is set for public hearing on May 8th. Today starts the day for calendar rules, which means that today's the last day that House committees get to report out any House bills and resolutions. That being said, any bills that don't come out of those committees today are essentially dead and will not be moving forward. With that being said, I bring to you today for opposition, as a preventative matter, House Bill 4370. This bill is relating to the system by which applications are voted on with regards to low-income housing tax credits. This bill seeks currently to remove any local and governmental input on applications for low-income house tax credits for new affordable housing complexes. I'm bringing you this bill today as a preventative matter because it is still in committee, has not moved forward. It potentially is going to die in committee, but just in case, because it potentially could come out today, I wanted to bring it forward today and ask for you to oppose. I could get
Commissioner
a motion.
Robinson?
Could you go back to that one?
Yes.
House bill. Essentially, that was the one. Did that had anything to do with the consolidation?
I'm sorry?
No, sir. The bill that you're thinking of, I believe, did not have to do with consolidation, but it's House Bill 2287.
Oh, yes.
Is that on your next slide or on any of your slides?
It's not on any of my slides. I know the court. Sorry, go ahead.
So during the presentation, we are going to talk briefly, even though it's not on the presentation, we are going to talk a little bit about HB 2287. But this one is a separate one that is about the income housing tax credits.
Yes.
So this one is not to do with the one with the city expanding, the city's housing authority being able to do projects in the county.
Okay, I understand that, but yeah, I know there's always a grab, for those tax credits because because you deal with money for the builders and developers.
This bill, Commissioner, actually just focuses on how the bill, how the applications are evaluated and scored on.
Process, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with the process. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wanted to, Judge, if I can. I wanted to bring up. I know that the probably this week there's going to be discussion on a bill that has to do with a penny sales tax swap for property tax, and I don't remember if that's actually laid out within our legislative agenda explicitly that we may be against any type of regressive taxing like a sales tax, but I mean, basically, what they're wanting to do is to eliminate property tax using a penny of sales tax. I was reading an article this morning that talked about the legislative budget board and their assessment of how this additional penny sales tax would affect folks. And so basically, people that make under $99,000 a year, it would essentially be a tax increase for them overall, and people that make between $99,000 and $149,000, it would be a small benefit, and then it would so basically the more money people make, the more benefit they will receive from some type of from this change. But it would definitely affect negatively our community because, you know, we have a large number of folks that don't make $100,000 a year here, and I think it would be disproportionately negative towards folks in our community. And so I had some of the members reach out to me regarding whether or not we support something like that, and so I wanted to bring that up so that we could possibly take a vote on it, and just so that we can send that information to them and let them know that we're not supportive of our aggressive tax and this penny sales tax swap.
And it's time sensitive?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be talking about it this week, probably today or tomorrow. On the governor, lieutenant governor, and the speaker had a press conference on Friday, talking about how great this was going to be and how everybody's going to see, you know, tax relief if they do this as well. And so, I just wanted to make sure that our opposition is very clear, and you know, it's out of committee. It's going to be on the House floor, so we can't drop a card or anything like that. But we can at least have Anna and our lobbyists speak to our members of the delegation and let them know that we are not supportive.
Do you have any additional information on
I do not. I believe this is part of the information I brought you all back a couple of weeks back with regards to the sales tax increase. And I think this is just another avenue of that one.
commissioners? Commissioner Pettis?
In addition to the vote, I think the vote's very important, but I mean, to articulate all the points that Commissioner Stout just laid out, I think perhaps we should also have some sort of letter to the delegation, just really detailing these things. It is very regressive. So I support that, just so that they're aware of exactly what.
Absolutely.
And then also, I guess, and also the same thing with SB2. I guess as we talk about that, perhaps I think a letter is more appropriate, because we did have members of the delegation who supported that. Unfortunately, I don't think they're fully aware of just exactly how this is going to constrain county governments. I think it's forever going to. I think residents will see an immediate impact, not in the positive way. There's certainly going to have to be a reduction in services. And so I think it's just very clear. I think we should send a letter that just clearly articulates that and the harm that this legislation is going to do.
Yeah, you had three of our 5 members of the delegation voted in favor of SB2 last week. Cesar Blanco, Mary Gonzalez, and Art Fierro. All 3 of them voted in favor of it. Speaker Moody was present not voting, and Lena Ortega voted against it. But you know, I know I myself have been in all of their offices asking them to not support a reduction in the rollback rate cap. But I'm not sure. I thought that we had support from those folks, and it was very surprising to me. You know, that 3 of our members actually voted in favor on final passage. On the second reading, there were also it was Speaker Moody voted in favor of it, and Mary Gonzalez voted against it. So there was a little bit of a change, but the idea is, you know, we do need to send something to them. I think you're right, Commissioner Perez, and I mean, I'm not sure if any of them are on the conference committee. I don't think they are on the conference committee for SB2 or HB2. But we definitely need to let them know that it's gonna be very detrimental to county government.
I think what was concerning too is that State Representative Blanco was actually promoting an advertisement promoting his vote, and I don't think that they fully realize the impact that this is going to have on services to residents. And as Commissioner Stout's aware, he contacted Representative Blanco about it, articulating the various concerns. And I think it's a little disingenuous to tell residents that this is going to be an overwhelmingly positive thing when, you know, it's not going to be. And essentially, you know, cities and counties were thrown under the bus in an effort to get school finance reform passed. And that's where they stand. That's sort of how they're justifying it, is they've staked so much in school finance reform over the years that they're willing to.
Yeah, I responded to Cesar Blanco on Facebook because he had a sponsored ad out, with a video talking about, how property taxes are skyrocketing in our community, and I reminded him that actually at the county we have not raised taxes in 4 years. We actually lowered taxes last year, so that is a very misleading statement, and let him know that basically, I felt that this is, just an attack on local control by the leadership at the state legislature, and talked about how, if we are capped at 3.5%, we only leverage $4 million with 1 penny of tax, ad valorem tax that we assess. And we would get to the cap by increasing our tax by just over $1.50 per. And that's only $6 million, a little over $6 million that we would be able to leverage. That's, we're going to get there really quickly. And I also let them know that, we have a number of fixed expenditures that are coming up, things like utilities that Wally has told us we're going to be are going to increase, and we have to pay for those. We have sheriff's collective bargaining coming up, of course, as you all know. There may be some changes there. Salaries and benefits, and making sure that we're paying our employees what they deserve. Those are also things that could increase our budget. And we've been told by Ed and Wally that within the next 5 years we could see a deficit in our budget of between $20 and $30 million by 2022, 2023, if we continue at the same spending rate and don't increase any new revenues. So they're taking that away from us, right? By the increase in new revenue will be no longer an option. So that means that we are going to have to cut spending. And where do we look first? I mean, where do we spend the most money? It has to do with public safety, emergency services, things like nutrition programs, things like parks, roads. Our public works department, we're trying to maintain 300 miles of roads, and we're also looking at having to build more roads because the unincorporated areas of the county are becoming more and more urbanized, and it's very difficult for us. And I tried to point out the fact that we're in a different situation than many other communities because we don't have the large population growth that other communities do, and so our tax base isn't growing. I mean, you've seen articles by Bob Moore recently talking about how population growth is stagnant here, but we do, however, even though we don't see population growth, we do see growth in the areas, growth and development in the unincorporated areas, which means we as the county have to provide all those services like access to utilities, lighting, roads. And that is going to, it's going to be very difficult for us to keep up with this type of cap. So we can write a letter to them kind of hitting those points. I think that I don't know if it's too late, but I know that like I said, I've been in all of their offices throughout the legislative session talking to them about it, and I was very disappointed that we didn't have any heads up, or nobody reached out to us. They didn't reach out to you, right, Anna? We kind of got blindsided by the fact that
our delegation was notified of our opposition to Senate Bill 2 and HB 2 very early on when we brought it in and took the vote to oppose. We also provided them information with regards to how the cap would look at a 2.5% for the county and how the cap would look at a 3.5. The only representative that did reach out to request specific information was Representative Ortega, and we provided her that information. But as I mentioned, that same information with regards to the two caps and how it would look on the county was shared with the entire delegation.
That was the week before last, right? That was before the vote. And so, very, very disappointing, very surprising that we didn't have a unified delegation, trying to, looking to support us, and even more disappointing that you have one of the members of our delegation actually out there, sponsoring ads on Facebook talking about how great this is going to be. So
Perhaps we can do a letter, not only to our delegation, but maybe to the conference committee. That helps.
Sure.
And then also, if we can use the stats that Budget and Audit have provided, just demonstrating, just how, the exact impacts this is going to have on our county.
And Anna, you'll spearhead this for us?
Yes,
You'll
sir.
help us?
I will draft it and have that sent out to the delegation and conference committee.
Yeah.
We'll draft it for Commissioners Court's, I believe it should be signed off on by the court. So you could either, it's whether the court would like to all sign off on it or designate the judge to sign and send it on behalf of the court, or each individually send it.
Christine, are we able to authorize a letter be drafted and have us all sign it here?
Yes.
And so somebody can draft that, and we can get that out as soon as possible, because
That's
time is
right.
of the essence.
That's right, and we can take that action today. We can
Okay.
take that action today. It's part of the agenda item as it pertains to legislative items.
Well, then I'll make that motion to have a letter drafted to not only our state delegation, but also to the members of the conference committee regarding the detrimental impacts of SB 2.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And if I could get a motion for opposition to HB 4370?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I'll be in Austin on Wednesday morning, so if there's anything I could do or take or meet, whatever it is that I can do to
Great.
help out.
Try to have that
I'll be
letter
there as
drafted
well.
before. Okay.
And Judge, Commissioners, I just want to make you all aware, I know this isn't actually on the presentation, but as you know, last week the court voted in favor of supporting HB 2287, which was modified, amended to address concerns that the county had about having input on county housing or housing projects that occurred out in the unincorporated areas or other areas of the county. And I just wanted to make the court aware that even after your vote, it's my understanding, and I've been shared this information from the senator's office, that members of our county housing authority, our appointed members, are continuing to oppose and contact offices there in Austin, our representatives' offices there in Austin, opposing the bill. Even after the amendments have been made, and I understand that they're aware of the amendments, but they're still opposing the bill. These are your appointees. You may want to reach out to them and have a discussion with them about why they're continuing to oppose it when the court has voted in favor of supporting the bill. I don't know that every single member of our housing authority has, but some members have, and I just want to make sure you all are aware of that.
But what kinds of efforts have they made, Betsy?
I believe they've been reaching out to the delegation, asking them to continue to oppose HB 2287 even after the amendments were made.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And basically lobbying the delegation to not support the bill.
Okay.
Judge.
Commissioner Robinson.
Question in that regard, as I understand the bill that you're referencing pertaining to the Housing Authority, unfortunately I was not here, but was not that, I guess the question I'm asking is, were we consulted before Representative Moody filed the bill?
No, we were not.
No.
we can vote for or we can vote against any action that we deem necessary, but from my perspective, I didn't appreciate the fact that basically people went behind our back to get a bill filed, didn't have the guts to come to us, to the body before they took the action. And as our representative, being Representative Moody, I think he has an obligation to, if nothing else, out of courtesy, to inform us that he planned to do that before he did it. So I don't really appreciate him doing that in the manner. In fact, I want to make sure I let him know when I see him and talk to him directly in that regard. But he can choose to file any bill he wants to. But the thing is, but if he's representing El Paso in this body, it's like Commissioner Stout, you brought some other points. Well, it does not matter. Where our delegation votes against something that we are asking for. Why would they do that? This will be representing us. Is there some other reason why they would go against the organization and the community that they're representing?
I believe, and I may be wrong, but Commissioner, I believe that the City Housing Authority did reach out to Representative Moody and ask for his help on that. I can't speak for why he didn't check with the county. He may have assumed that we had no opposition to it. I don't know. I do know that I believe it was last week or a few weeks ago, the court expressed its concerns with the bill as it was written and asked for some amendments. Then Representative Moody, and it's my understanding from speaking with the senator's office that not only Representative Moody, that he got together with other members of our delegation and they talked about the county's concerns and they developed and went through the amendments to make it a bill that both the county would support. And so they did bring it back based on concerns the county had expressed as far as elements of the bill that we wanted to be included. And so then when it was brought back to the court with those amendments, the court did move forward because the intent of the bill is for betterment of housing for our community. For those who need assistance in our community. The other thing I failed to mention as well was the Housing Authority board members have also been reaching out to the smaller municipalities, asking them to file opposition to the bill. I do believe one municipality did file opposition. Another municipality, I believe Commissioner Pettis, you were able to go speak at that meeting?
That's correct. So before the amendment was passed, the Housing Authority approached the city of San Elizario, I think April 23rd, and without informing us that they were going to do so. And unfortunately, the council, in speaking to the city administrator from the city of San Elizario, there was an assumption that because there are appointees and the executive director was there, that they were speaking for the county. That was before the amendment was passed. Then last Tuesday or Wednesday, or could have been Thursday, the Socorro City Council was also taking up a measure because they were also contacted by the Housing Authority. Fortunately, one of the council members contacted me asking me if I knew about HB 2287. I explained it to him. Unfortunately, the Housing Authority was telling them that there was no oversight whatsoever, which was not true. That's not what the amendment did. So I had the opportunity to go speak before the City Council, and the Executive Director of the Housing Authority did acknowledge that the information that was sent to the City of Socorro was done before the amendment was passed. She still expressed some concerns regarding that this is going to lead a road to merger or something like that. But the Socorro City Council had unanimously supported the legislation after we were able to discuss it. And then one of the housing commissioners actually sent a message of support to one of the city council members in Socorro, telling them that they did the right thing because the amendments are beneficial to the city of Socorro. So I don't understand why they're still opposing it and also sending message to the local city council that they're doing the right thing. It seems a bit contradictory to me, but that is the case.
Well, my point is that one, from the beginning, as far as the manner that it was taken from the beginning. At the same time, the thing is that one, with what the Housing Authority, Jerry Shoshone, is doing. One is creating a monopoly, number one. Number two, I don't think that all factors were considered when it came to this body. That's my belief. I don't think that we asked the right questions as far as number one, as far as how many people are on the waiting list, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is, as we talk about the other bills, we talk about tax credits. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't understand the process, it's all about money. It's all about money, and it's the commitments that Jerry has made in regards to what he and their organization is doing in regards to public housing. Money, money, money. If you don't understand tax credits relate to money. And when you say about consolidation and monopolizing, you're talking about more money, where he has a monopoly on it, which means that because not to go into a whole bunch of detail, but if you look at the categories of the tax credits, there's more than one category. Two of those categories, the Housing Authority automatically qualify for. The other one where he tried once before when I was on the city council to get a monopoly on all the tax credits, whereby the private developers would not have an opportunity to compete for those tax credits. So again, I repeat. Money, money, money. It's a money grab. It's a monopoly. Bottom line.
Judge, if I may say, and I don't want to speak for the representatives, but I think that the thought was they did ask for input when there was the concerns with the merger. And originally that's what the legislation did, was it merged the City of El Paso's Housing Authority with the county's Housing Authority. And then I think after the Commissioners Court had voted that down, this legislation that was taken up by Speaker Pro Tem Moody didn't involve the merger. It was just a question of whether or not the City of El Paso can operate outside the city. And so in the absence of that nexus with the County Housing Authority, I think that was the logic, and perhaps that's why, if there was not communication, that perhaps that's not has something to do with it. But I will also just say that the status quo right now is actually the developers actually have a monopoly over the tax credit options because they're the only ones that are allowed to operate there. In the city of El Paso, part of the reasons why you have developments such as the Blue Flame building, Art Space, which were projects that were supported by the city of El Paso, those are done by the Housing Authority, not private developers. Private developers can compete for tax credits, but the reverse is true outside the city limits. Developers have been the only ones that operate out there, and as a result, they've clustered a lot of low-income housing in ways that I don't think is good for the communities. In San Lazario and in Socorro, it's only the private developers that operate there, and there is no competition currently. And I hope that with this legislation, it'll at least give that opportunity where, perhaps there can be other projects that move forward. Some of the great projects that we're seeing in the city of El Paso can move forward also outside in some of the county areas that need it as well. But right now, unfortunately, the developers are the only ones that are allowed to operate there.
Anna, anything else?
Nothing else. If there aren't any questions for me, that ends our legislative update for today.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Appreciate your reports.
This brings us to item number 8, Auditor. This is postponed from April 29th, 2019. Pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code, Section 114.025, the 2018 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report is hereby submitted for your acceptance. This report is located on the intranet at http://www.epcounty.com/auditor/publications.cafr.htm.
Just a second.
So we voted to send a letter regarding SB2, HB2, but did we end up voting on sending a letter regarding the penny? Should we? I think
So
we need to do
there could
that.
also be a very detailed letter and done in coordination with budget and audit and signed by all members of the Commissioners Court.
That has to do with the
Right, we'll include the penny
opposition
swap.
of the penny. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could I have that motion again,
We're
please?
going back. Let's reopen it, just so that make sure that it's clear on the record
Sorry.
that we're voting for both.
Okay,
That's
so
okay.
move to reconsider the item.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So we already had the vote on the one letter regarding SB2. So I'll make a motion regarding the issues of the sales tax increase that would, swap sales tax revenue for property tax revenue. If we can draft a letter by the Commissioners Court in conjunction with budget and audit demonstrating that, or just articulating that a sales tax is very regressive for our community and would have more of a detrimental impact where low-income individuals would be hurt the most by an increased sales tax.
And for it to be signed by all members of the Commissioners Court?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's
Second.
include that in the motion. Do you want two separate letters, or do we want to do one?
Two
Two
separate
separate.
letters.
Yes, thank you.
And that it would go to whoever, whether it be conference committees or whether it be whoever, all the delegation or whoever it needs to go to.
So it would go to members of the delegation and any other interested parties or organizations to articulate the county's position.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. This brings us back to item number 8, postponed April 29, 2019, pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code, Section 114.025. 2018 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report is hereby submitted for your acceptance. This report is located on the internet at http://www.epcounty.com/auditor/publications/CAFR.htm.
Good morning, Commissioners. Edward Dion, County Auditor.
Good morning.
As stated, this is the annual financial report for FY 2018 for the period of October of 2017 through September of 2018. It's on the website and transparency webpage. Since April 30th, we sent you all an email link notifying you. We also gave you a published version of the document as a reference. We usually do about 30 of those. We do it electronically, basically, but if you need extra copies, just let us know. First of all, I'd like to let you know that I'd recognize our external auditors are here from GRP, Gibson, Ruddock, Patterson. We have Craig Gibson and Joanna Gill. And then I'd like to recognize the county auditor staff for their extra efforts and their diligence in preparing this report. We have Jim Utterback in the back over here. Victor Bettis. Barbara Franco is back at the office right now, but I'd like to also recognize Esteban, Jim Utterback and all his staff of the Financial Reporting Audit Division. This is a team effort, and it takes a lot of extra time over and above our normal duties. We're working on trying to gain efficiencies, but it couldn't have been done with all of their assistance. I'd also like to thank the Commissioners Court, past and present, and all the departments. And mainly because of the results of this report is because of the collaboration of all the decisions and direction given by the court and the collaboration of all the departments working together. The report, I'm going to basically, first of all, it ties to the county strategic plan for financially sound county government. I'm going to discuss the external auditor results. And then after I talk about those, then I'll let the auditor come up anytime they want to, if they have any additional comments. I'm going to talk about entity-wide financial statements. I'm going to try to elaborate a little bit more there because we have some new members of the court so you can understand the difference between the entity-wide and the general fund level statements. So I'll go over the general fund and the fund balance, revenue estimate variances, that's always been a concern in the past, appropriation variances of the general fund, revenues and sources of the general fund, expenditures and uses, and then trends for the past, and then impacts for the future. Better forward here. bottom on the right? Okay, I'm using the wrong one then. Okay. The first thing is the external audit results. The opinion letter usually talks about prior year and current year. In the current year, there were no significant audit findings. Management letter comments, you received a copy of a letter from the audit firm. This is their opinion, and at the very end, it shows prior year comments and current year comments. And it shows their recommendations. Prior year, we had an observation relating to the tax office, relating to cash deposits. They were being recorded, but they weren't being verified by a second individual. That situation no longer exists. There was an observation on the county auditor's office regarding public funds investment, and the broker-dealer list needs to come at least a minimum of once a year for your approval. That's no longer an issue. The court approved broker-dealers in the beginning of 2019. First of all, the CAFR adheres to the government accounting principles and practices, and disclosures were deemed to be adequate by the auditors. There were no significant difficulties encountered in dealing with management in performing and completing the audit. There were no required corrections or uncorrected misstatements. The one comment that I'll make throughout the presentation is that there was an interpretation of GASB 54 of how we classify fund balance. Has no effect overall on the fund balance, but I'll be discussing that. So there really were no disagreements with management during the course of the audit. The current year findings, there were, the first one was an observation regarding other post-employment benefits, or OPEB. That was one of the reasons why the audit took a little bit more time than normal. While performing the procedures to substantiate the various components relating to the other post-employment benefit amounts reported, it was noted that claim invoices from the third-party TPA administrator lacked specific details. The recommendation was for management to request detailed invoices from the third-party administrator, which is Aetna, which distinguish between claims from active employees and retirees that would allow for additional review and control procedures to be performed on a monthly basis. The auditor's response, the county auditor's response is that the auditor's office is going to work closely with HR to coordinate with the county's third-party administrator to provide detailed invoices that distinguish claims between active and retirees. In doing the actuarial study, they need to have specific information regarding the various participants in the plan, whether people are coming, people are going, gender. There's a variety of information that they have to have, and if they don't have that, they can't do their due diligence review. The second one regarded procurement. And when I say procurement, this did not relate to the purchasing agent, and this is nothing directed at the purchasing agent. The observation was while performing tests of the procurement system, it was noted that in one instance the transcription and translation services provided by one vendor were not procured using proper procurement methods. The recommendation is to ensure compliance with state requirements and recommend additional training related to procurement requirements being provided to appropriate personnel. The county auditor's response is that the auditor's office will ensure procurement requirements are met before processing service-related invoices for payment, although through the use of additional monitoring and training as appropriate. And what I'm talking about here is that on a quarterly basis, we're going to be monitoring payments that we make for professional services to see what threshold they're amounting to. And if we think they're going to hit a $50,000 threshold throughout the year, we'll start coordinating with purchasing as to whether it needs to be bid out, because once we get to the 50 and you go over, then it should have been bid out initially. So we kind of have to anticipate if we're going to have an expenditure that's going to exceed the purchasing threshold. And with that, I'll invite the auditor if they have any comments or questions or feedback they want to provide regarding their audit letter or their comments.
Good morning. I'm Craig Gibson. I'm managing partner for GRP. Like to, oh, there you are. Joanna Heel. She was the in charge, and she's been the in charge, the last 5 years. So she does a tremendous job working with the county staff This year was a little bit of a labor of love in implementing a new pronouncement that required the recognition of OPEB, as Edward already alluded to, and I believe we ended up having to get a third actuary's report to make sure it was correct and following the proper procedures. If you had an opportunity to look at the CAFR, which I know is a very detailed report, you may have noted in the equity section or net position a negative unassigned number of, what is it, about 50 million? The cause of that is related to the recognition of the OPEB liability and the pension liability that came online 2 or 3 years ago. And these were new pronouncements, and you may have heard in the news some other issues where a number of states and cities have had significant problems funding their pensions and OPEB. OPEB is like when we guarantee medical or health coverage to retirees, that type of post-retirement benefit. And so when we refer to OPEB, that's really what we're talking about. So by recognizing these huge liabilities on the government-wide statement, and it's just on that very first statement, that has the impact to generate a negative unrestricted, thank you, net position. The total net position is still positive. I think it's about 75 million. When you do your budgets, you're budgeting on the fund statements, and that is starts with Exhibit 3, I believe, and you'll see everything is positive on that. It's just the government-wide is they're just requiring more and more items to be recognized in the government-wide, and that's why you're seeing these larger numbers. So as far as the audit goes, the audit went very well. It was just here towards the end, getting those actuary reports finalized so these final accruals could be made. But working with Edward and his staff and Wally could not be better. In the county, I think you all know that you're very, very lucky to have such excellent individuals working for you, and the tone obviously comes from the top. So we do appreciate the quality up here. So I'll get out of your way. He does an excellent presentation, so we'll just let him go with it.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
I'm going to try not to be too verbose, but I have a habit of doing that. And also, I have to excuse me, it's allergy time of the year, so I'm hacking a lot lately. Just to continue with what our Craig Gibson said about the entity-wide statements, just for you to understand, prior to 2001, we did fund level statements because we budget on a fund level annually. Well, the powers to be in the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, they got feedback to say, well, why don't we have comparable statements like the corporate environment? And the real reason was because corporate environment, they were having issues with pension liability and other stuff. And they said, well, how do counties, how do governments compare? So ever since 2001, our preparation of our CAFR that used to be finished by the end of December, now we're lucky to get it done by the end of March because we have to have all these actuarial studies done on the liability, and it's not a bad thing. And it tells you truly what your exposure is. But with actuaries, I can tell you, my view of it is like a roller coaster. Every year it goes up and down, and it's because the mix changes every year. You have new participants, you have people leaving the plan, and just characteristics of of the data that they evaluate changes. So with that, I'll move on to the entity-wide financial statements, and stop me at any time. And I have my staff here, so if I get anything wrong and they want to clarify anything I say, or if you have questions, just let me know. Entity-wide, we talk about net position. That's your bottom line, like your fund balance. Where did we end up? Our assets minus our liabilities. Where did we end up for the year? Assets and deferred outflows of resources, governmental and business type activities exceeded liabilities. That's a good thing. Liabilities and deferred flows by $85.2 million. That's a big increase. Prior year, that number was $23 million. So we had some factors that occurred in our actuaries that reduced our liabilities significant. So we went from 23 million to 85. So we had a gain of over $60 million in our net position for the year. Net position grew by 61.9 million, or 265.24%. The increase in net position is attributable to the fourth year continued implementation of GASB 68 and the first year implementation of GASB 75, and it's significantly due to pensions and OPEB liability. Now, reading the financial statements at the entity-wide, it's a little confusing. We have an asset section, and then it goes into the inflows and the outflows. So I tried to combine it so that you all would understand it maybe a little bit better. Just overall, looking at the assets total $467.6 million, a decrease of about $126 million, or 2.63%. Within assets, I just selected some of the changes. We had net decrease in cash and cash equivalents of about $4.8 million. Receivables net of allowance for uncollectibles increased by $2.4 million. Capital assets combined net decreased almost $10.3 million. And we depreciate. We're not adding as much capital now. We're depreciating our assets. So we had a decline, but the overall selected assets was about 12.7 decline on the asset side. On the liability side, vouchers payables increased by about $1.2 million. But before I say that, total liabilities were $398.5 million, and that was a decrease of $139.9 million, or 25.98%. That's where the liability, I'm telling you, is coming in on the pension that decreased. Bonds, current and non-current, decreased by 7.8. Contingent liabilities went down they decreased about 1.5. Compensated absences grew by a little over $500,000, and those selected liabilities show a decrease of an increase of about 7.5. And that 7.5 excludes pension, because I want to talk about that separately. When we talk about GASB 68 for pension, the overall net was a decrease in liability of $70.4 million. GASB 75, which is the OPEB relating to healthcare, that was actually an increase in liability of 3.9, because this is the first year we implemented it. So they calculated. And the net GASB 6875 was $66.5 million. Okay, I can talk about the details that make up the GASB liability and the OPEB, but I can come back later and get that for you also. But I can just tell you, I'll just go through it. GASB 68 on pension. The liability decrease for GASB 68 pension decreased by $138.8 million. The asset portion of that, which is an outflow of resources, decreased by $50.1 million. And the liability inflow of resources increased by $18.2 million for a net impact of $70.5 million. That was a decrease in liability overall, and I mentioned that earlier. When you talk about the GASB 75 OPEB, the net was a $4 million increase, but that relates to the liability of 7.2 increase. And then we had an asset outflow of resources that decreased that liability by 3.2, so it netted to 4. But it still ends up at the $66.5 million increase in our favor, bringing up our overall net position. Okay, Craig pointed out the net impact. I'll just point out the net investment in capital assets went down to 63.3 from 66 prior year. The restricted assets went from 77.5 to 71. The unrestricted, which is the one that shows a deficit. First year we implemented, we were at 101 million. Then we went to 120 million. And now in 18, we're at 49.55 as far as a deficit unrestricted. The total fund balance went from 23.3 million last year to 85.16. And like I say, the liability went down, so therefore the fund balance grew again. And all I'm saying is actuarial studies are going to come, and based on how they project what our cost is, I know, and I'll talk to you about it in a little bit. I know you heard TCDRS said December 24th of 18, the market dropped, and it affected pensions. Well, the thing you need to understand is that the 18 CAFR is based on the end of fiscal year 17. So the 19 CAFR will be based on the December of 18, which has that impact. And the recovery of it won't happen until the 2020 CAFR, because that'll be based on the 19 recovery. So I'm saying is you have to be aware that when you see that it's like when you're doing investments, you have to be in it for the long haul when you're young. You have to take the ups and the downs, and overall you look at the averaging. And that's what TCDRS does, and they've done an excellent job doing it. Okay, getting to the general fund. Now I'm at fund level. I'm not talking about entity-wide anymore. The general fund, we began with an 83.07 million. Revenues and transfers totaled 272.2 million. That was an increase of 7.1 million, or 2.69%. The expenses and transfers totaled 268.7. They grew by 11.1 million, or 4.3%. I'll just point out, and I'll be talking about it again, and we're talking about projecting for the future. Revenues grew by 2.6 million. Expenses grew by 4.3 million. That's where you start ratcheting down on your fund balance when your expenses are growing at a faster pace. So that netted 3.48 million. We had some adjustments for prior period adjustments and changes in inventory totaling almost 40,000. Gives us a net of 3.4. We ended the year with $86.5 million in the general fund. Now, one thing I will point out is every year we do the budget, we have a 10 to 15% ratio that we're looking for as far as a fund balance reserve. We ended up with about $44.6 million, and the unassigned was about $6.6 million. We designated 37.9 to put an earmark in the budget for emergencies. That, my understanding is that the court will never use that. So what I do is I add that back to the undesignated fund balance, and we come up with 44.6. I take the adopted budget, I take out that reserve for emergencies because it's technically not going to be spent, so I don't want to compare to it. And the ratio we achieved was 14.17%, which is still a very outstanding result when you're going from 10 to 15. We always try for 15, but anywhere in the middle there is still good. And so the court's to be commended of still achieving its goal. And like I say, you're going to see some graphs here in a little bit where we designate, well, the way we categorize fund balance has changed this year, and we'll be looking at it for the future to possibly change it back. I had to correct all the historical trends because we used to show the amount that you designate to balance the budget was considered assigned. And then the amount that was designated for emergencies, I would leave it as unassigned because you're never going to spend it. So technically, it can be used for anything, but it's not designated to what you want to spend it on. So it doesn't meet the criteria. The external auditors, we went through GASB 54, and their interpretation was that it all technically needs to be unassigned. But my personal view is it's designated because the auditor estimates revenues. We have a deficit to balance the budget, so we have to put that amount as fund balance in order to make the balanced budget, to have a balanced budget as legally required. So we'll be talking about that for the future and possibly changing. So we showed unassigned of 82.3 million. The assigned is 4.1. It's basically encumbrances. that we carried over that we have obligations to pay. And then the 86 is for change funds and the reserve for inventory. Revenue estimate variances, this is always a concern. And it's just budget to actuals at this point. The budget actual variance of revenues total was $9.5 million, or 3.62%. The bulk of the variances were charges for services. That was 21.7%. And I can tell you right now, we've discussed it every year because I've always budgeted low on federal prisoners because sometimes we talk about canceling the contract. If you exclude the federal prisoners, then it was a variance of 6.6 million. The actual variance of my projected revenues versus the actuals is 1.17%, which to me is still very good. Typically, I've always had it just a little bit less than 1%. When you get into the actual variances and taxes, there were positive variances and negative variances. It was 1.8 million overall, or 0.83 above estimate. The positive variance were sales tax was up about 2.3 million. State mixed beverage tax was up about 155,000. The vehicle inventory tax was up 91,000. The negative variances total 814,000, and it was mainly property taxes, 574,000. And the motor vehicle sales and use tax, we had a reduction of about 240,000. Charges for services, as I said, it was a $7 million increase, or 21.72%. And it represented 73% of the overall variance. And that the 19 budget took into account, and we increased the actual federal prisoner estimate by 650. It was a lot lower before. And I did that in collaboration with budget and policy. Interest, the variance was 544,000, increase by 39.4%. And then some of the other positive variances included the tax office assessor fees went up by 238,000, constable fees up 162,000, and Coliseum rental was up 135,000. This is the budget variances, and I know Commissioner Pettis, you focus on this one a lot, for appropriations. The overall appropriation variance is 32.6. That's after taking out the designation of the 30 million that was in the 2018 budget for emergencies. I took it out, it's 32.3, and if you break it down, 3.9 was transfers out, capital was a little over 2 million, operating was 14 million, and personnel was about 12 million. This is just a graphic depiction as a pie. You can see the general government was the biggest portion of the variance, 17.75 million, almost 55%. The bulk of this is contingencies. Most of this is under the control of the Commissioner's Court. Second was transfers out of 3.9. I know there were some planned transfers that didn't materialize, and I think they got reappropriated in the 19 budget to pay out regarding the counties. You have some road projects or water projects, and so that's why the money was there. Capital outlays also was 2.1 million, or 6.9%. Public safety, there was $3.5 million, or 10.8%. And administration of justice, about the same, with a little over 3.1 million, or 9.8%. The general fund tax revenues total 216.6 million, 79.6% of your revenues. Followed by charges for services, 39.1 million, or 14%. Then intergovernmental, 6.1 million, or 2.27%. And then fines and forfeitures. And then miscellaneous. The general fund taxes only Just a recap, as I was saying earlier, 79.6% of revenue is from taxes, of which the bulk of it is property taxes, 58.96%. Sales tax is 48.3%, 48.3 million, I'm sorry, almost 18%, followed by motor vehicle sales tax, 5.1 million or 1.89%. The general fund expenditures, public safety was the largest category at 122 million or almost 46%. Administration of justice, almost 66 million, followed by general government, 56 million, then health and welfare, 8.1. Other financing sources, 7.3, and then culture and recreation, 6.3. This is the graph that you see all the time. This is nothing new. So it shows the fiscal year 2018 ended about 86 million. I'm projecting the fund balance is going to go down. As I said, there's some expenditures. Some of them are shown as variances for which they're going to be expenses in 19. I'm working with budget and policy to better understand which of those expenses are really going to happen. Because I know budget and policy's projection is in the 80s, and this is all subject to change. I look at it monthly, and we collaborate on information, and we make the appropriate updates. So impacts for the future. Okay, we're going to monitor economic impacts, revenue trends, and negative impacts of legislation. We were talking about it today. I talked to Commissioner Pettis earlier. A 3.5% cap would have impacted us over the last 10 years by $132 million. And if we had a 2.5% cap, it would have been like $240 million. And there's no really going around it. If it happens, you're going to cut services. I don't know what else you're going to do. But in the scenario of the 3.5%, and I did the analysis between 2009 and 2018, and the big impact was between 2013 and 15. And each year there was a 7.3, a 9.3, and a 5.9. You know, in some of the most recent years, there was no impact because you all have been holding the line. You've been doing your due diligence. So we're going to continue looking at revenue enhancements to collect current and past assessments. We'll work with project managers. We got the issue now with, we got the bond proceeds from the 2012 issue that we need to get spent. We have some unallocated funds, so we need to get existing projects to finalize, and we need to get the additional funds allocated and get those projects underway. We'll continue working with budget and policy on the financial revenue forecasts to meet your needs for your budget hearings. And then GASB 68 and 75. While the CAFR depicts an overall rebound of 61.9 million in comparison to FY 2017, which showed a decline of 14.7, the county needs to still monitor such trends and strive for future balanced budgets. As previously discussed, counties are encouraged to establish a formal funding policy separate from the financial reporting calculations, and I know you all are working that already. Continue to monitor the county's fringe benefit policies as part of the financial policies, which you've done. And then pursuant to state law, employers participating in the system must pay 100% of what the TCDRS actuarial determination is. At this point, I don't know if you want me to get into the TCDRS impact of what happened in December, but on average, they say it was going to impact most counties. There's 760 plans. They said it was going to be a 5%. That's on average, okay? When I looked at the numbers, El Paso County falls within 79 other plans, which is 10%, that are going to have projected impacts of 0.75 or 0.99%. And I think the number they actually gave us which Betsy had, and she gave you an update, was 0.93%. And the impact is, it can vary, but I think the impact that they were talking about was anywhere between $2.5 and maybe $4 million. But it still depends on plan changes and anything else you do. One thing that has helped the county over the years is the county used to be what they call a repeat COLA giver. And that repeat COLA giver determination causes your liability to go through the roof. And that's one of the reasons why you see the liability coming down now, because the commissioners have not done the COLA, retiree COLAs, because that just goes on top of the liability into perpetuity until those annuities run out. So that has been a big factor. So at this point, they've already given us preliminary rate, but I'm telling you, if you end up having to put it into your 2020 budget, you may show a decline in your rate in 2021. And you're still going to be looking at what rate you want. They can tell you what the rate is. You can always make it higher. You can't make it lower, but I can't guarantee it. But you may have to put the 2020 funding higher, but you may see something recouped in the 2021. But time will tell. But there was a variety of places in the market that took a hit, but they said it was the lowest free fall in December since the market drop of 1931. The month of December, they've never had a drop in December as much as we had this time, and it was really only 3%. Okay. But on average, the plan brings in about 8%, and that's what they bank on. And they normally do come in with that. And it varies. Some years they might get 18%. Some years they may only get a 2%. And it's rare that they get a negative. I mean, the 2008 is when they had a big drop. They had a drop of 26% for the year, and then they gained 26 the next year. So all I'm saying is that it's the nature of the beast, and they are very diversified in what they do with our plans. So I would just say we shouldn't overreact, but it may cause a little bit of budget strife when you're trying to balance that budget for 2020. With that, did you have any questions? And if you have any questions after the fact, I'll provide you whatever detail additional. I can have additional conversations with you. And it's a lot of information, and it's a complicated report, especially at the entity-wide.
Ed, I just have one quick question. Reference the fines and forfeitures. I noticed that on one of the slides, it showed a drop of $726,000. Do you have I'm trying to understand that one.
That was a variance, I think we're talking about.
Yeah, you just pat right there.
Okay, let me see. I can tell you, I have the actuals from year to year, what happened on the actual variance there. I mean, year to year, we have case volume changes, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that anybody's performing differently, but if you have less case volume, I think that Budget and Policy addressed some issues recently within the last year with regards to collections were down, assessments were down, and it just, that relates directly to it. If you have less case filings, you have less fines and forfeitures coming in, and it also affects the amount that people pay because they get on a payment plan. And the fine may be assessed, but it depends on how much people are paying. So there's a lot of variables, but I can get you some additional detail, maybe breakdown as to what that relates to. And it may also relate to the Funds and Fees of Office report that we provided a few weeks back.
And I just heard the opposite, that because of an increase in cases, I know that most of the courts are
it may be now.
very busy.
The cases may be up in FY19, but this is for FY18. And it may be various cases, but sometimes cases are up, but it's the amount of the assessment. Sometimes the assessments are actually going down. You can have more cases, but the amount assessed may not be equivalent. And it's at the discretion of the courts what the assessment is. And even if the assessment is stable, it's the amount the person is able to or willing to pay, which affects the actual revenues.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Judge, Commissioners, Walling Hargrove from the Office of Budget and Fiscal Policy. I'll just coming in on the back end on that. We did see a direct decrease in the assessments being made, an increase in community service, as well as an increase in the fines and fees being waived by courts as well. And I believe that we gave that to you on a highlight 1 or 2 quarters ago. But we'll keep an eye on that for our next quarterly update.
I'd like to clarify, as you all recall, there's also an important part of our justice reform is assessing ability to pay. So this is part of justice reform as well. It's my understanding both case filings have been down. It's my understanding they've been remaining down. I need to get the latest numbers, but Bill's kind of nodding his head in agreement with me. We review these numbers quarterly. So case filings are down, and then also courts are taking a more comprehensive approach to assessing fines and ability to pay. So because you don't want to end up in a cycle with someone ending up back in jail because they couldn't pay what you assessed them to pay. And so we're having to look at alternative methods of appropriate forms of accountability in these criminal case files. So.
Thank you.
Betsy, is this in relationship to Judge Anchondo? Because it would really... his point was that we were letting too many people that could afford and not paying fees. Is that related to that?
No, it's across the entire both county and district court justice system, and the work being done, and not just the courts. I mean, I also think this involves the DA's office, the public defender's office, the probation office, pretrial. It's part of the overall comprehensive system to make sure that we're administering justice, not based on someone's ability to pay, but based on their likelihood to reoffend. Try to dive in and get more breakdown on where we're seeing the declines or exactly what fines and fees are down.
Yeah, we actually break down the revenues now by department, so the fines and fees are spread across, and it'll just show what was collected by the various departments. But like I say, it's all attributable to a lot of factors, which we'll need to investigate to help better understand.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
Commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed, okay. Your motion on this item for item number 8 would be a motion to accept the comprehensive annual financial report.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 9, Public Works. Approve and authorize El Paso County Transit to offer a promotional fare for Ozone Action Days, as determined by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, from May 6, 2019 through October 1, 2019.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Losel Nettles with the Planning and Development Department. The county has participated in Ozone Action Days alongside Sun Metro and other transit providers in the state and the nation for the past 3 years since transit was placed under Public Works. And so the way this works is, if approved, the county is given notice, usually a day ahead of schedule, that the following day is going to be declared an Ozone Action Day, where we promote carpooling and use of transit to reduce the number of vehicles on the roadway. You'll notice that on an Ozone Action Day, on the billboards, on the announcement boards along state highways like the Loop 375 or the Interstate 10, you'll see it's been declared an Ozone Action Day. On these days, the county and Sun Metro typically offer free rides to get people out of their cars and onto transit. So if approved, we would be doing that. Last summer, there were 26 Ozone Action Days throughout the months of May to October. There have been none in the first 6 days of May. Once the temperatures start to increase, that's typically when we'll see those days being declared by the EPA, by TCEQ, and then we'll be notified as a transit provider.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Item number 10, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the Rural Area Federal Formula Program Fiscal Year 2019 Project Grant Agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation to continue providing commuter bus services in the county in the amount of $325,890. There's no county match. Contract number 2019-0301.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Jose Alneros with the Planning and Development Department. This is the acceptance of a grant that the court approved submitting an application of back in February. This is the grant that, this is the intergovernmental revenue, I should say, that comes down from the Federal Transit Administration to the county for operating our fixed commuter routes. So this is for routes 10, 20, 30, and 40. Route 50 is funded using another funding mechanism. And so we received, this is very routine funds that the county receives, and this is again for the operation of our transit system. Would ask for the court's favorable consideration.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you, Judge,
carries.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Item number 11, approve and accept the revision of Horizon Marketplace to be named Horizon Marketplace Replat A pursuant to requirements of the Texas Local Government Code Section 232.041, revision of plat, and authorize the filing and recording of the subdivision plat.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Gilbert Saldaña with Planning and Development.
Gilbert.
Horizon Marketplace is a two-lot commercial subdivision of approximately 67 acres on Rojas Drive, which is located at the northwest corner of I-10 and East Lake Boulevard. The subject property is in precinct number 3 in the Horizon area and will be serviced with water and sewer by Paso del Este Mud number 1. The property owner is requesting to replat the property to transfer approximately 1.6 acres from one lot to the other. No deed or covenant restrictions were found to prohibit or restrict this replat. This exhibit shows the subject property in the original plat, which was filed on November 2016. This exhibit shows the proposed replat of the subject property, showing the approximately 1.6 acres of land being transferred from one property to the other. The Planning and Development Department recommends approval of Horizon Marketplace Replat A and to authorize the filing and recording of the subdivision plat. This concludes my presentation, and we'll answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Pettis?
So the Paso del Este MUD District Number 1 is the one that's providing all the infrastructure.
Yes, they'll be providing the water and sewer for them.
You know, I have a lot of questions regarding the structure of that and trying to keep this germane to this conversation. But perhaps we can have another conversation regarding exactly how this MUD is funded, because I get a lot of calls from constituents who are thinking that the county is raising water fees and raising taxes. And it's sort of unusual, but apparently there's an interlocal agreement with all these MUDs. And so the residents living here, they pay actually a very high 75-cent tax just for a MUD, and they have an interlocal agreement that fund that they collect is then transferred to MUD number 1 to do infrastructure projects. So you can live in MUD number 5, but you're going to pay for the development in MUD number 1. It's really unusual, but perhaps if we can tackle that a little bit more so we can answer questions to residents. But essentially, you know, they're being taxed, and it's going to developments, like I'm guessing, such as these, that aren't necessarily within their municipal utility district.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 12, purchasing. Approve the purchase of software maintenance support for Proofpoint software license for Information Technology Department using DIR TSO 3926 contract awarded to SHI Government Solutions of Austin, Texas in the amount of $154,910. Purchasing approved on April 26, 2019. Funding is available in General Fund, ITD, Maintenance and Repair Software.
Deborah Correjo, County Purchasing Agent. In this case, we are requesting approval to use the Department of Information Resource through the state of Texas to purchase the Proofpoint software. I believe this is the software that checks the emails and websites and places we visit in order to make sure that they're safe.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 13, grant applications. Approve the submission of county grant applications as listed and described. If awarded, all grant award agreements will be brought back to the Commissioner's Court for final acceptance and approval. Item number 13, approve and authorize the electronic grant submission application to the Texas Indigent Defense Commission for funding of the Public Defender's Office Mental Health Litigation and Advocacy Unit for fiscal year 2020 in the amount of $426,728, and authorize the county judge to sign a letter requesting grant budget amendments. Further authorize the county judge to sign the resolution approving the application and designating grant officials and internet submission confirmation form. A 60% grant match in the amount of $640,091 is required for this third year of grant funding, and the Department of Budget and Fiscal Policy will account for the match in the fiscal year 2020 budget. Funds are available in General Fund, Public Defender, Transfer Out, Grant Match. Contract number 2019-0316.
Judge, Commissioners, Ms. Keller, I'd like to ask Mr. Cox to address this matter because he's been dotting the i's and crossing the t's.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Bill Cox with your Public Defender's Office. This is the third-year grant renewal for our Mental Health Litigation and Advocacy Unit. This is a four-year grant program that in the fifth year becomes a permanent county project or continued part of the office. The Texas Indigent Defense Commission has a stair-step grant funding structure to ease the burden on county taxpayers to implement new programs into their indigent defense systems. Each year, the grant match increases by 20%, which is why this year we are looking at a 60% grant match. This will cover the third year of the program operation. And in addition to merely continuing the grant, TIDC has been very generous with the county in allowing us to request a grant budget amendment every year to include the increases for increases for our attorneys, social workers, investigators, and staff, and also for the cost of living. So instead of the county taxpayers, like some other grants, handling the full load of those each year, we are at 60% now. Next year it'd be 80% before it becomes a permanent program in the fifth year.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Before I vote, Wally, did we already discuss this insofar as those $640,000 being in our budget?
Yes, sir. And when we accepted this grant little under 3 years ago, we had anticipated we would have a 20% match increase every year, as they noted.
Thank you.
Commissioner, okay, go ahead. Commissioner Robinson had a question.
This is an example of what I talked with Betsy the other day on unfunded mandates. You say that you say after the fifth year, it comes a permanent function for the county.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other day, with discussion with Betsy, I asked her to give me a list of all the unfunded mandates. which is something that we going to have to deal with. I think we need to take a very serious look at in regards to as we go through our budget process. So and don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with the program. What I'm saying is that this program, this just hit me right now with the discussion I had with on Friday, that we need to take a look at unfunded mandates. And as we do the budget and make a determination as to the state sometimes give us mandates, but they don't give us money to fund those mandates. So down the road, or they give us a grant for a certain period of time, and they say, okay, now you own it, and you got to pay for it yourself. So something we need to take a look at, and probably this session is over now, but towards down the road, the next session come up, we need to address that issue with the state in regard to those unfunded mandates that they tag on to us. So.
Commissioner Stout? Aye. Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And if I may briefly to address Commissioner Robinson's concern, when we conceived of the mental health unit, Commissioner, part of this was to not only meet the needs of our clients with significant mental health issues, but it also added staffing we needed in our office to handle the number of cases which were being assigned to us as our percentage. We do approximately 40% of the felony and misdemeanor cases. So this actually has helped to leverage our tax dollars so that instead of having a multi-million-dollar hit 2 years ago, it stretched it out for county taxpayers. But we did go into it with the court being aware up front that it would have a long-term permanent cost attached to it.
No, don't get me wrong. I don't disagree that we don't need it. Mental health is a big issue in our community, so it has to be addressed, from the practitioners in mental health as well as the legal side of it, for the legal issues always involved with any type of case that's involved. So I'm not saying, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that it's an issue. This issue, your program, is one of many programs that we have that are unfunded mandates that we need to deal with from a financial budget standpoint.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
It would be excused, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 14, Budget and Finance. Approve Amendment number 30 to the County of El Paso's 2018-2019 operating budget. This budgetary amendment will increase special revenue by $300,000, increase grants by $698,707.36, thus increasing the overall budget of $441,755,520.36 to $442,754,227.72.
Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. Wally Hargrove from the Office of Budget and Fiscal Policy. Were there any questions on this week's budget amendment?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
This brings us to item number 15, executive session. Commissioners' Court will now recess into executive session to discuss items 15A through 15F pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.0725.
Mr. Nava, before we recess into executive session for item number 15B, we need to have a finding by the court. We are going under 551.0725 to discuss contract negotiations. And so I need a finding from the court for this item. Item number 15B reads pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071 and 551.0725, receive legal advice and discuss the current collective bargaining negotiations between the county and the El Paso County Sheriff's Office Association. A legal memo has been prepared and will be provided to the clerk's office. We are making a finding and we are recommending that the court vote unanimously to have this deliberation regarding contract negotiations in executive session. These are negotiations that are related to collective bargaining agreement with the El Paso County Sheriff's Officers Association for this new collective bargaining agreement. And therefore, I need the Commissioners Court to make a finding that deliberation in open meeting concerning business and financial issues relating to the collective bargaining agreement would have a detrimental effect on the position of the court in those negotiations, and therefore that the court also unanimously vote that those negotiations, deliberations take place in a closed meeting instead of an open meeting, and that they also direct your clerk to ensure that those proceedings in closed session be recorded. And that would be your motion and your finding, please. And I have a motion and a finding.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Christina?
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
For the collective
Motion
bargaining
carries.
items, can we have our
Commissioners Court will now recess into executive session to discuss items 15A through 15F pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.0725. Commissioners Court will reconvene to take official action.
All county offices will be closed on Monday, May 27th in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. All county offices will reopen on Tuesday, May 28th, 2019.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canotillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canotillo Avenue in Canotillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938. Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus through public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346th District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barril started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048. All county offices will be closed on Monday, May 27th in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. All county offices will reopen on Tuesday, May 28th, 2019.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canutillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canutillo Avenue in Canutillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938. Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346th District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barrid started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Commissioners Court has reconvened in a regular open session. Item number 16, discuss and take appropriate action regarding pending litigation regarding SB 4. Item number 16, no action. Item number 17, postponed April 29, 2019. Discuss and take appropriate action on the potential litigation on the Roberto Acosta Orozco claim. County Attorney's File Number 014219PC.
Good afternoon, County Judge and Commissioners. Christina Sanchez, Assistant County Attorney. We're asking for a motion to authorize the County Judge to sign a release of all claims and sign the vehicle title over to the insurance carrier in exchange for $5,213.17, which is the full value of the vehicle. And that would be the motion.
I so move.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson is absent. County Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 18, discuss and take appropriate action on the pending litigation regarding Maria Ornelas versus El Paso County. County Attorney File Number 006418LD.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. County Judge Ian Kaplan, Assistant County Attorney. I'd ask for a motion to be made that the county accept the settlement offer proposed by Ms. Ornelas and to authorize the county judge to sign the settlement agreement when it's presented.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson is absent. Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. That would be our last item, Judge.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
This concludes today's meeting at 1:02 p.m.